Welcome to our deep dive into trade barriers. In today's interconnected world, countries exchange goods and services constantly. But have you ever wondered why some products are more expensive or harder to find in certain places? That's where trade barriers come in. These are policies or regulations that governments use to control the flow of goods across their borders. Whether it's to protect local industries, ensure safety standards, or respond to political situations, trade barriers play a crucial role in shaping global commerce. Let's explore what they are, why they exist, and how they impact our everyday lives. Trade barriers are any government-imposed restrictions on the free exchange of goods and services between countries. These can take many forms, from taxes on imports to outright bans on certain products. The main goal is to regulate international trade, often to protect domestic industries or address safety and quality concerns. By understanding the different types of trade barriers, we can better grasp why some products are more expensive or less available in certain markets. Let's break down the main categories and see how they function in the real world. Tariffs are probably the most well-known type of trade barrier. A tariff is a tax imposed by a government on imported goods. This makes foreign products more expensive compared to local alternatives, encouraging consumers to buy domestically produced items. Tariffs can be a significant source of revenue for governments, but they can also lead to higher prices for consumers. Over time, countries have negotiated to reduce tariffs, but they still play a major role in international trade today. Quotas are another common form of trade barrier. Instead of taxing imports, quotas set a physical limit on the amount of a particular product that can enter a country during a specific period. For example, a country might allow only a certain number of cars or tons of sugar to be imported each year. Quotas help protect domestic producers from foreign competition, but can also lead to shortages and higher prices for consumers. Import licenses are permits that governments require for certain products to be brought into the country. By controlling who can import specific goods, governments can manage the quality, quantity, and safety of products entering their markets. This system can help prevent the importation of harmful or substandard goods, but it can also be used to restrict competition and favor local businesses. Countries often set strict standards and regulations for imported goods. These can include safety, health, or environmental requirements that foreign products must meet before they can be sold. While these rules are often justified as protecting consumers, they can also act as hidden trade barriers, making it difficult or costly for foreign companies to enter the market. Subsidies are financial support that governments give to local businesses or industries. By lowering production costs, subsidies make domestic products more competitive against imports. While not a direct barrier, subsidies can distort trade by giving local companies an unfair advantage. This often leads to disputes between countries, especially in sectors like agriculture. Voluntary export restraints are agreements between countries where the exporting country agrees to limit the amount of a product it sends to another country. These are usually negotiated to avoid harsher restrictions like tariffs or quotas. While called voluntary, these restraints are often the result of diplomatic pressure and can still limit consumer choices. An embargo is a government order that completely bans trade with a specific country or the import of certain products. Embargoes are usually imposed for political reasons, such as to pressure a country to change its policies. While effective in some cases, embargoes can also hurt businesses and consumers in both countries involved. Some countries use currency controls to restrict the buying and selling of foreign currencies. By making it harder to exchange money, these controls can limit international trade. This is often done to stabilize the local economy, but it can also make it difficult for businesses to import goods or invest abroad. Bureaucratic procedures such as lengthy customs checks or complicated paperwork can act as trade barriers by slowing down the movement of goods. These administrative delays increase costs for businesses and can discourage foreign companies from entering the market. While sometimes necessary for security or regulatory reasons, excessive delays can be a significant obstacle to trade. Sanitary and phytosanitary measures are rules to protect humans, animals, and plants from diseases, pests, or contaminants. While these measures are important for health and safety, they can also be used as trade barriers if they are overly strict or not based on scientific evidence. This can make it hard for foreign producers to access certain markets. Technical barriers to trade include regulations about product standards, labeling, and testing. These rules ensure that products meet certain quality or safety requirements, but they can also make it difficult for foreign companies to compete if the standards are unique or hard to meet. This is especially common in industries like electronics and food. Anti-dumping duties are special tariffs imposed on foreign products that are believed to be sold below fair market value. The goal is to protect local industries from unfair competition. While these duties can help domestic producers, they can also lead to trade disputes and higher prices for consumers. Countervailing duties are tariffs imposed to counteract subsidies given by foreign governments to their exporters. These duties aim to level the playing field for domestic producers. Like anti-dumping duties, they can lead to higher prices and trade tensions between countries. Rules of origin determine where a product was made and are used to decide if it qualifies for preferential trade agreements. These rules can be complex and vary between countries, making it challenging for businesses to navigate international trade. They can also be used to restrict imports from certain regions. Some countries ban the import of goods that are considered dangerous or harmful, such as toxic chemicals or unsafe toys. These bans are usually put in place to protect public health and safety. While necessary in many cases, they can also be used to shield local industries from competition. Both import quotas and tariffs are used to restrict foreign goods, but they work differently. Tariffs raise the price of imports, while quotas limit the quantity. Each has its own advantages and drawbacks, and governments choose between them based on their economic goals and the industries they want to protect. Non-tariff barriers include all trade restrictions that aren't taxes on imports. These can range from complicated paperwork to strict safety standards. Non-tariff barriers are becoming more common as countries look for new ways to protect their markets without violating international agreements. Countries use trade barriers for a variety of reasons. The most common is to protect domestic industries from foreign competition, which can help preserve jobs and support economic growth. Other reasons include safeguarding national security, ensuring consumer safety, and responding to political or diplomatic issues. While trade barriers can offer short-term benefits, they often come with long-term costs. Trade barriers can have a direct impact on consumers. By making imported goods more expensive or less available, barriers can reduce choices and increase prices. While this may benefit local producers, it can also mean higher costs and fewer options for shoppers. Understanding these effects helps us see the broader consequences of trade policy. For producers, trade barriers can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, they protect local businesses from foreign competition, allowing them to grow and maintain jobs. On the other hand, barriers can make it harder for companies to access foreign markets, limiting their growth potential. The overall impact depends on the industry and the specific barriers in place. When countries impose trade barriers against each other, it can lead to a trade war. This is a situation where each side keeps raising barriers in response to the other, often resulting in higher prices, reduced trade, and economic uncertainty. Trade wars can have far-reaching effects on global supply chains and economic growth. World Trade Organization, or WTO, is an international body that helps regulate global trade and resolve disputes between countries. One of its main goals is to reduce trade barriers and promote free trade. The WTO provides a platform for negotiation and helps ensure that trade rules are fair and transparent. Free trade agreements are deals between countries to reduce or eliminate trade barriers. These agreements make it easier for goods and services to flow across borders, benefiting both consumers and producers. Examples include NAFTA and the European Union's single market. While free trade agreements can boost economic growth, they also require countries to make compromises. Developing countries often face unique challenges with trade barriers. While they may use barriers to protect emerging industries, they can also struggle to access foreign markets due to restrictions imposed by wealthier nations. Balancing protection and openness is a key issue for these economies. With the rise of digital goods and services, new types of trade barriers are emerging. These include restrictions on data flows, digital taxes, and requirements for local data storage. As technology evolves, countries are finding new ways to regulate cross-border commerce. Trade relationship between the United States and China is a prime example of how trade barriers can shape global commerce. Over the past decade, both countries have imposed tariffs and other restrictions on each other's goods, leading to a complex and sometimes tense economic relationship. This case highlights the real-world impact of trade policy decisions. As the global economy continues to evolve, so do trade barriers. New challenges like climate change, cybersecurity, and shifting political alliances are shaping the way countries approach trade. Understanding these trends can help us anticipate the future of international commerce and the role of trade barriers. Trade barriers are a complex but essential part of the global economy. They can protect local industries, ensure safety, and address political concerns, but they also have costs for consumers and producers. By understanding the different types of trade barriers and their impacts, we can better navigate the world of international trade and make informed decisions as consumers, business leaders, and policymakers.